Then let's go ahead and get started. Everyone, this is Lauryn Volovar. You may have heard her on the Gemology Worldwide podcast. She is also a CAD designer for Earth's Treasury, and she is going to talk a little bit about her jewelry journey with us today. Lauryn, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little about yourself?
Hi, yeah. So as you said, my name is Lauryn Volovar, and my day-to-day job is as a jewelry designer for Earth's Treasury. If you haven't heard of our company, we are a colored gemstone company primarily. That's how the business started. It was founded by a man named Jeff Hateman, who is an entrepreneur and lapidary and all around man of many talents. And this is basically a culmination of everything that he loves, like all of his passions: gemstones, photography, science, running a business. So he began the company in 2012. And like I mentioned before, he was just selling colored gemstones. And the main focus was on North American gemstones, mostly Montana Sapphires. They're like our biggest seller. And he saw the next natural progression for the company as selling jewelry after, because people were buying gemstones and then going to private jewelers or someone else to get their jewelry made. And he was just like, you know what, I want to make the jewelry. So that's when he brought me on. And when we get further into the conversation, we can talk about exactly how Jeff and I met, because that's kind of a fun story too. But yeah, that's basically what I do. So
that's awesome. How long have you been working for Earth's Treasury?
It was 2 years ago this past Thursday.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah. So it feels like I've been there forever, but also like I just started yesterday. And I totally love my job so much.
Yeah. That's amazing. Have you been working from home lately?
No, I really only had to work from home right when quarantine started, and we had no idea what was happening. So we have a really small office with a private showroom, and we would maybe have like 1 or 2 clients come in throughout the year, like every month. But for the most part, we just sell to both wholesale and retail online, like anywhere. So we don't have that many clients that actually come into the office, and there's only 4 or 5 of us at any given time in the office. So it's actually a pretty big building. There's 3 floors, and all of our offices have doors. So we've actually, when we didn't know what was going on, I was working from home because, everything was so up in the air. We didn't know a lot about how COVID spread and how safe it was for us to all be in the office. But once everything kind of, plateaued over the summer and everyone got into this new normal groove. God, I hate that phrase. But, after everything, kind of like settled down, we decided it would be fine to go back in. So
awesome.
The office, with a mask on, and it's great. Yeah. Because
it's incredible. It's so great that you can have this career that you love, and you're so young. And you're already so accomplished.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm 29, so I'm like, I still feel a little young, but yeah, but yeah, and like I was saying before, like I really appreciate that I can be in the office despite what's going on, because like when I'm designing for a gemstone, like to actually have it in front of me and see it is really crucial. Like I fall in love with each one that I make a piece for, so getting to be there with them is really important to me.
You sound so passionate. I love it.
Yeah.
So how did you get started in the jewelry industry? I mean, what started all of this?
Yeah. So I'm a first generation jeweler. No one in my family is a part of the jewelry industry. I was a quirky kid who was just obsessed with rocks and gems. I still have my original collection that I would get from like those museum stores where you could just like pick from like the bins and like, take a pouch home, that I'm sure every jeweler was excited to do. And then just like rocks I'd find on the ground when we would go on trips. And I had like a science fair competition one year where I talked about rocks and gems, and I won first prize. So it was just kind of like this weird thing that I never really thought much about. And then, I got older, and I went to college at Taylor School of Art. I just went to art school not really knowing what I wanted to do. I just was creative. I knew I had to go to college, so that's what I did. And then I found the jewelry design program there my sophomore year when you had to declare a concentration for, your art practice. And Tyler School of Art is a fantastic program for CAD design. They have a traditional metalsmithing program as well. So you're required to learn both things, but they are really future focused on CAD design. And they're one of the first. They have some professors in there that are now retired that were like some of the first people to use CAD in jewelry design.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like that was the bulk of my education was in CAD. And but it was still like an art school, so it's very gallery and contemporary jewelry focused, like not really applicable to the actual jewelry industry itself. So I started working at a jewelry store while I was in college part-time to just like learn about the industry. And then after I graduated, I took a full-time job there. And while I was in retail, it was really helpful because I actually just like I said, I got to know like what the jewelry industry itself was like, not just like what being a jewelry artist was. And I realized the value of gemology and, furthering my education and decided to get my GG. So I applied for a scholarship and I got a full ride to the distance education program to get my GG, which I did over the course of like 2 years. And while I was doing all of this, I was designing for like friends and family on the side. I had my CAD program at home and I would like sneak into the jewelry shops, like wherever, like whichever store I was working at, and like just like make pieces of jewelry when I could on the weekends or in the mornings or in the afternoons. So while I was making pieces for people on the side, I kind of realized that I didn't have enough metalsmithing training. So I went from working in retail to a bench job that I did for about 4.5 years. And during that transition, I was finishing my GG. So right as I started as a bench jeweler, I had just taken my 20-stone exam and passed. And I was like, all right, well, now I'm on the bench and I need to like use my gemology education still because I just like kind of got this GG thing. It wasn't really in retail, so I didn't need to use it as much. So I started doing jewelry appraisals on the side for a local store that I lived near. So I would do that on the weekends. So all of this knowledge came together and made me feel like I was actually ready to be a CAD designer, because anyone who designs jewelry should know, or probably does know, that like there are so many different components that go into CAD design. Like it's not just like, oh, I made this ring and now it's ready to go. Like you need to know how it needs to be, like how it should be constructed. You need to know that if you're designing for a softer, less durable gemstone, that it can only go in certain types of stone settings. And like you need to know what's within the client's budget and how much time it will take to make that. So working in retail, working on the bench, working as an appraiser, getting my GG, all came together, to make me ready to be a CAD designer. So then I started doing the podcast with Josh, and I met Jeff because he was our first interview. And I was kind of like ready to move on from my bench job, but like not in any rush. I was just like, I'm going to keep my ear open, ear to the ground, listen, so I do, kind of like start networking and look around for a job and like kind of wait for the right opportunity to happen. And it happened really fast. As soon as I did the podcast, I met Jeff and we clicked right away. And like I said before, he was looking to expand his business into jewelry design, and I brought that up, and that's how it went.
That is so awesome. And you live in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you been in Pennsylvania the whole time?
Yeah, for my whole career. I moved to Pennsylvania from New Jersey when I was in high school. So I've been in the Philadelphia area for a while now.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was cool. Like I'm pretty fortunate because I don't live in the city of Philly, but you know, and we don't have as huge of a jewelry scene as like New York or California, but there's definitely a growing contemporary jewelry scene. And, you know, it just like is totally fate that Jeff like has this business that like, it doesn't really matter where Earth's Treasury is because we sell online. So it could be anywhere, but it was just like really close to my house. You know, it's like a half-hour drive for me. And yeah, it was just like, whoa, you know.
That's so
like,
cool. It's amazing that there's opportunities like that there where you live. Because I always think, you know, when I did CAD design for 7 years, and it was always, I live in Arkansas, so it was always kind of like, if I want to take this to the next level, it's hard to do in certain areas, you know, New York, Dallas, LA, that's where it's at. And anywhere in between those, you're kind of, it's a little limiting, or it can be. It's less so now. I think when I started, you know, 8 years ago, it was probably different than it is now, especially now that we have so much opportunity for remote work and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just really great that you have that. I've wondered, how do you know Josh? How did you two connect for the podcast?
Yeah, so that was through the power of Facebook. He's got this awesome group called Gemology Worldwide. If you are in the industry, you can join. You just need to, you know, verify that you work somehow as a jeweler or gemologist. So I joined it, and like not realizing that Josh was also a Philly native. And right after I joined, he like had set up this like mentor match program through the group. He was just like wanting people to connect more. So he was just like, you know, if you want to be mentored, send me a link, or if you want to be a mentor, send me a link. And if you want to be mentored, you know, let me know as well. And he made a list and he matched all the members up, you know, accordingly. And he forgot me. Like I had like reached out and I was super excited and I kept checking back and I never heard from him. So eventually I just sent him a message because I was like, at that point realized he was in Philly. So I was like, oh, you know, like I bet he'd match me with either him or at least someone else. Like he must know someone that I could be mentored by, because this was at the same time that I had kind of decided, like, you know, I've been on the bench for a while. I think I'm ready to move on. And this was part of my networking thing. Like I was, you know, that's why I had joined the group. So he like, you know, was just like, oh, you know, I'll be your mentor. Sorry about that. And yeah, like we had met up a couple times to just like talk about, you know, my career, and like I wanted to learn about what he did. And then I was just like asking him like, oh, you know, I love listening to podcasts. So do you know any like good jewelry ones? Because I kind of was having I couldn't find any at the time. That was like probably 3 years ago. And it was like, I guess like right before this kind of like big podcast explosion that's going on, where like it feels like everyone has a podcast now, but like even just 3 years ago they weren't as popular. So he was like, I don't know what podcasts are. So I had to explain to him what podcasts were, and then I was just like, all right, well there's no good ones out there right now, really. I could only find like 2. And I was like, do you want to, like, we kind of were just like, should we make one? And it was like, yeah. So I was really lucky. I'm fortunate that my husband is a graphic designer and really great with computers. He does like visual work for like a movie theater company. So he's super used to like also like adjusting audio for, you know, like he's just good at all that stuff. So we had a tech guy already and a producer, and we just needed the content. So Josh and I structured it like a mentor-mentee thing where we would pick a topic to talk about and then, you know, learn about it from him. It'd be like me asking him questions because he's got like, I think like 4 generations worth of experience in the industry at least, and you know, a ton of knowledge. And then at the end we interviewed like a true expert on the specific topic that we were talking about. So it was a way for me to, again, like continue my gemological education after GIA and learn, you know, as a first generation jeweler, because we don't have the, like, if you enter the industry without any family connections, you have no, like, you don't have as many resources as someone who's been in it for a really long time. So it was our way of like giving that kind of built-in knowledge that he gets from having so much family in the industry, you know, to people like me who, you know, need that help.
That's wonderful. That's really awesome. And it definitely, I think that's one of the best ways to learn, because you can read stuff in a book, but actually talking to people, I think,
Yeah.
helps accelerate that learning. And with your experience and what you do, you're kind of at a level where uh, you probably run into a lot of content where you're like, well, this is kind of beginner level. I already know this. And so, yeah, you have to step it up somehow. And
Yeah.
then you're also, in addition to that, you're kind of involved with WJA, right?
Yeah, I'm currently the president of the WJA chapter. Been involved for like 3 years now. I was the event planner for the first 2 years that I joined on the board. And oh my God, if you are a woman in the industry, if you identify as a woman, you should absolutely consider joining the organization. It is, it's been huge for like me and like connecting with other women in my area. It's like this great social network that I have. It's been amazing to keep in touch with them during COVID, especially. Like it's been just nice. We have meetings once a month, and they're like all structured differently. So sometimes we'll have like a lot of our events just like focus on whichever women's business we're featuring, and it's just been great to see like the diversity of what women are doing, and like how the industry is shifting so much into, female run design and gemology. It's just like, yeah, it's wonderful. So I've been able to really grow my career that way and just grow like a huge network of people that I know I can rely on for years to come. So like I said, I can't say enough good things about the organization.
It's clearly working. I mean, your knowledge really shows, I would say, in everything that you do, because you have a strong online presence, obviously, with the podcast and Instagram and everything. Mm-hmm. And you definitely, you have a lot of reach. And so you have a brand, you have a pretty well-known brand. And so it's obviously like people notice, and I definitely think that your knowledge and expertise really shines and really shows and establishes you as a strong, knowledgeable woman, in the jewelry industry. And so I think that a lot of people will be inspired by all of these elements that have kind of helped build you into who you are. You know what I mean? Like WJA and Gemology Worldwide and like all these different things, like even like your retail background. That's really fascinating, and having this like very individual journey that can give a lot of people some guidance. You have a lot of people who want into this industry. I feel like I've met so many people who are like, I'd love to work in jewelry. Do it.
Yeah.
Go do it.
And
stories like these inspire people,
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, like I said before, like, just enter however you can, because there's so many different things you can do within the jewelry industry. And even if you start off working retail like I did, it doesn't mean that's where you're going to end. But like, I use my knowledge working retail, even if it wasn't my favorite thing to do by any means. Like, it was not my favorite job that I had, but like, I use that knowledge all the time. Like, if you're a designer, you're still a salesperson. You need to have knowledge and be able to explain to the client and sell, a compromise of what they want and what is practical and, good from your expertise. So, however, no time is wasted even if you're in the industry doing a job that you don't necessarily want to do forever.
Right. No, absolutely. All the experience counts. And with that in mind, I mean, you have a really unique experience and some, I'm guessing, kind of expertise. You deal with a lot of Montana sapphires in what you do. I think a lot of people would be interested to know more about that, like not just Montana sapphires, but the sourcing and how you use them in your designs and what kind of market you deal with that particular niche.
Yeah, so Montana sapphires are incredible. Like I said, they're the main thing that Earth's Treasury focuses on. And where do I begin? They're not officially my favorite gemstone for sure, because I've just fallen in love with them throughout, my 2 years working with them. But they are incredible because they're from the US, which is, really important, I think, to millennials and younger generations. They want to know exactly where products are coming from that they purchase. And with Montana sapphires, we can trace them directly from mine to market. We work with a mining company called Potentate. We source rough from them every year and buy different amounts and have them cut. So, and then if they need to be heated, they're also heated in the US. And the majority of our stones are also cut in the US, unless it's really small melee, then some of it's cut overseas, but by specific companies and people and artisans that we work with directly. So we know exactly where all of our gems are at all times. And
does Jeff does some of the cutting or most
Jeff
of the cutting?
Well, we cut Jeff's gem designs. So when Jeff started, he is a lapidary. That's how he like got into the industry. He was doing gem cutting. So he came up with all these specific gem designs that are unique and specifically tailored to Sapphire's RI. So they all have angles that make the gemstone perform as well as they can. And yeah, we cut all of the rough so as to not waste anything. So most of our gems are rounds or ovals because that's the shape that the crystals come out of the ground, you know, best suited to be cut in. And yeah, then we, so then by the time they get to us, maybe 3 to 4 hands have touched the gem rough. Like that's now a gemstone when it gets to us. So that's like incredible traceability, like to be able to say that we basically know this gem has been, you know, like it was here, and now it's here with us. So that's hugely important to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm working with materials that are, you know, ethically mined and pretty eco-friendly too. The mine will eventually, you know, stop producing, and their plan is to restore the earth back to its natural state once the mine is, you know, dried up and not able to be, you know, sourced anymore. So that's another big thing that is important to millennials and younger generations. You know, it's very eco-friendly, and it will leave a very low impact on the environment when it's all said and done. So, and then we also know that working in the US, the miners are paid fairly. They're all treated well, and everyone involved is, you know, compensated how they should be. So
absolutely. And that's, yeah, really important. Like you said, to millennials, I'm a millennial. That's important to me. That's important to most of the people that I know. And just, you know, working with customers that they often ask, where does this come from? How did, you know, how did this come about? And so I think that's really wonderful. You mentioned millennials a couple of times. Would you say that that's like your main market?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say like, of course, we sell to all ages and we have all different types of clients, but the majority of people who want to buy a Montana Sapphire are coming to us because they are planning on getting engaged and they want something unique. Montana Sapphires are the perfect candidate, if you ask me, because they not only are they sapphires, so they're durable, they can be worn every day. They're second only to basically diamonds in terms of durability. They also come in a huge variety of colors. And I think another thing that people are looking for now when they get engaged is a really custom experience. And no two Montana Sapphires really look alike. And then on top of that, they're all, the ones that we sell are all specially cut, you know, in these specific gem designs by, you know, I don't think I answered that question fully when you asked before. Jeff is a lapidary. We got like all Jeff is a lapidary, and he used to cut all the gems, but now we have thousands of gemstones in our inventory at any given point in time. So we work with a company who facets our gems in his designs. So he used to, you know,
Awesome.
Yeah, and when he first got started, he came up with all the designs and he had faceted them then. And we have a lapidary machine downstairs for when he wants to jump down there and, you know, cut a really special, you know, valuable gem. He'll still do that. But yeah, we work with a company that cuts them here in the US. So anyways, yeah, Montana Sapphires are great because they're really unique. No two are alike. And we're able to offer this really custom, you know, experience when.
Oh, your designs are amazing. I mean, all of your mountings, they definitely, it's almost like that mounting. And I know it was, but like made exactly perfectly for that stone. Like that stone and that mounting, there's no better match. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely, I think that just with your artistic background and stuff, the grasp that you have on design, like everything about the way the ring comes together, it just enhances that stone, because you're dealing with really unique, really special gemstones here with the Montana Sapphire, which actually brings up something that I wanted to ask you, because I know the answer, but I think everybody else should hear this. In some dark corners of the trade, right, where some people who have not experienced Montana Sapphires may interact with customers, there is a belief that these Montana Sapphires, especially, you know, the parties or when they're like bi or tricolor, that they don't appear in real life as they do in photography or videography. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So another thing that people say too is that they appear grayish in real life. And it's absolutely true that under different lighting environments, Montana Sapphires will look different. And
I think trade shows, I think that if people have only seen them at trade shows, trade show lighting, it's not the same.
It's not the best, actually. I really think that you know, my favorite environment to look at a Montana Sapphire is under like it's outside lighting, but like overcast, because it makes the gems look really bright. And it just, I think it's the truest representation of their color. But almost all of them have like a bluish green pleochroism. So under LED lighting, they'll look really green, which is why like there's like a lot of like shots I'll see of Montana Sapphires on Instagram that were probably taken under LED photography boxes that will really make them look green. And we have people come to us all the time saying like, oh, I want this like super green, like almost emerald green color, that we just like, you know, we're just like, it doesn't actually look like that. So we work really hard. You know, like I mentioned before, Jeff has a photography background. So all of our photos on our website represent the gem as though it's in daylight, which, like I said before, I think is the closest representation of the true color. But when a client wants to purchase a gem from us, we'll take a video, and we'll often take a video outside, inside under LED lighting or under incandescent lighting to show them like, you know, this gem will look different depending on the room you're in. And then we also have a review and return policy, which allows you to purchase the gem, view it in person. We tell them have it for 7 days at least, and look at it under all different types of environments and lighting so that you know for sure you love this gem. Because, you know, it's like it's just impossible to show every way that they could look. But there's tons of colored gemstones that do that because they're not diamonds. They're not just colorless. So that's
right.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's the nature of them. And I think that's what makes them so special and beautiful. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. So,
no, I love that about it. It's more natural feeling. And also I don't know, I'm a 90s kid. We had mood rings. I love color changing stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The most important thing you can do is just make sure you disclose it. That's the only time it becomes, you know, unethical or bad,
I hope that's something that customers understand when they're shopping, is that the seller, you guys are obviously a really reputable seller, and I'm hoping that people come to you, but you know what I mean? I hope that the customer understands that, like, ask questions, see videos, see different angles, see different lightings. Don't necessarily trust one picture, you know, of one angle, because this is something you're going to wear every day. And anything that plays with light, anything that plays with color, the way that a gemstone does. Yeah. It's easy to keep secrets.
Yeah. And that's what we want, full disclosure. And then another thing about our photos is that they're equivalent to looking at them under a 10-time magnification loupe. So we want the clients to see if there are inclusions in the gem, you know, they're there, they're visible, and, you know, they'll probably look better when they see them in person, because we're showing a really magnified, you know, version of it.
Sure. Is it common to have the noticeable inclusions in the Montana Sapphire?
They can be extremely clean, but they're sapphire. So sapphire, you know, corona material is not, you know, I forget which category it's in, maybe type 2. But yeah, it's typically a gemstone that has inclusions. And I think that's another thing that makes them really beautiful. They can have, if they're, you know, unheated, they can have beautiful rutile silk, which can give them a glow. They can have little crystal inclusions within them that can help you identify your gem. I think it's just something that makes them unique. But yeah, then we come across some that are just like almost flawless. So it really just depends. But yeah.
Very cool. And then when you sell Montana Sapphires, is it typically, because you keep mentioning working with the customers, but you also said you do wholesale, like, do you work with a lot of retail stores, or is it just mostly people like online finding you?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, we work with a ton of wholesalers. I don't know if our business is half and half, but yeah, we have wholesalers who, if they want to sell Montana Sapphires to their client, they can set up a trade account with us and order the stones in and show them and sell them, make them into jewelry if they want to. And then, yeah, the rest of our clients are retail. And yeah, they come from all over the world.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. That is so cool. You must really, really love it. I can tell by the way you're talking about it that you're really excited about it.
I really love my job. Yeah.
Are people having their sapphire set in white gold mostly?
No. I guess we really push platinum if we can. We just prefer working with it if possible. And usually when we let people know, white gold's great. It's a little less expensive up front, but it does need to be replated at least once a year usually. And then we tell them that platinum's more expensive up front, but it does need to be replated. We can usually, make that, distinguish it, or I'm sorry, we can make that sale, and like upsell to platinum, which we just prefer to work with it. But I've been seeing a ton of people get yellow gold and rose gold as well. Rose gold is weird. It will have I swear it comes in groups, like no one will want it for a couple months, and then all of a sudden we'll have every ring that we're doing for 550 rose gold. So I don't know. Trends probably go faster now with the internet and Instagram, especially. There's so many visual social media mediums out there that I feel someone makes a list of 20 trendy engagement rings, and if a lot of them are rose gold or something, then everyone will want that style. So it's the same thing with styles of engagement rings too. We'll sell a lot of cluster rings one month, a lot of halos another month, trellis rings. It really just depends. So there's got to be some sort of external, force of the internet that's determining these things. But
it's crazy.
I would say probably a slight majority with white metals, whether it be white gold or platinum, but it's pretty even. So
awesome. Well, that's exciting. I'm really excited to hear that, because I'm a yellow gold girl. And so I'm always when I always ask people, do you sell yellow gold? Because I want it to come back. I know it is back, but I want it to be more back than it is.
Yeah. And I think too, it really depends on the color of the gemstone. Because like I said, Montana Sapphires are typically teal blue, but they can be pink, orange, green, yellow. So oftentimes, if it's a warmer color gemstone, it will probably end up in a warmer toned metal like rose gold or yellow gold, because it just looks better. So yeah, that might be playing into it as well.
That makes perfect sense. I love how much you know about sapphires. It's really obvious from the way that you speak that you're a GG. How do you feel that your graduate gemologist certification has helped you in your career?
It has helped me so much. Like I mentioned before, when I'm designing for a gem, because while we primarily work with Montana Sapphires, we do sell other gemstones like garnets, tanzanite, aquamarine, morganite, emeralds, and all these gems have different hardnesses and durability. So sometimes we'll have a client come in and want, this engagement ring set with an emerald, for example, and we have to tell them it's not really a great idea. So right off the bat, where my GG is helping me, because I'm preventing a future tragedy if have someone buy an engagement ring with this gorgeous emerald that they absolutely love, and then they chip it a year later.
Yeah.
And then we can find another one that looks like it. So
for the safety of gemstones everywhere. Yes. Get your GG.
Yeah. But then just working with the sapphires and having all this extensive knowledge, I can really explain to my clients better about why they're such a great choice for an engagement ring, because people might be on the fence, or a partner might be coming to me saying like, I don't know why my, future fiance wants a sapphire. Like I've only ever heard of diamonds. Like, what is it? What is this weird new stone they're asking me for? So I can explain like all these great reasons about how it makes how it makes an awesome choice for an engagement ring. And then like just I would say like the logic and problem solving that comes with being able to identify gemstones. It's just like applicable in so many other areas of the industry. Like it just really helps, as like a life skill, the very like methodical process that you go through to be able to identify a gemstone. It can be applied to so many other things in life that I've just noticed it like kind of.
I agree with that completely. Just like, I think that scientific methods, like if you have a mentality that thinks scientifically, it's hard to generalize it because I think it's like depending on individual situations, but it definitely helps to just have that like background mentality in your head and that openness too. I think that there's a humility that comes with the desire to research and the desire to understand that makes you more absorbent to accurate information and less swayed by misinformation.
That is a great way to put it. Yeah, exactly. I was kind of trying to say like, why is this so important? But yeah, you said it exactly right. Yeah. And I think it helps my clients trust me more. Like if they know I have an extensive knowledge about gemology, then I think it helps them. It demonstrates that I know what I'm talking about. And, I'm
absolutely. In your day-to-day life for work, do you really have your hands on the gemstones? Do you get to work with them a lot? It sounds like you're working with customers and doing design. It sounds like you're doing a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're a really small business. So, what they say, like everyone wears many hats. And like I said before, jewelry design is all about selling as well. It's just as much about selling as it is about being an artist. And I have a whole box of gemstones that are in my queue at all times that I bring up with me every day. They're either gemstones that a client has purchased and I need to, design a ring for it that week. So I'll have that with me. And then I might have a tray of melee with me that I need to pick out for side or accent stones and an ombre pattern, which is really fun. I might need to make a match pair of gems for earrings that we're doing. So I'm surrounded by gems at all times and I love it.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. It just sounds so like, it must bring you joy and positivity to just be around them and touch them and see them. And
yeah. In no way like a crystal healer component or anything. I am much more, science-based in my love of gems, but there is something magical about them for sure.
I love that. I love that. I'm with you. Like I completely understand what you're saying because I'm always like, oh yeah, mumbo jumbo, but for real.
They're magical. Like there's
something.
We all are in this country and we will, whether it's just an attraction to sparkly things or they truly do have some sort of magnetism about them that can't be explained, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Lauryn, tell me about the future of your career. Tell me what's going on and where you're headed. I think our viewers are people who are reading and watching. They're going to want to know all about where you're going with this amazing career that you have for yourself.
Yeah. So I already told you before we started, I'm pregnant. I'm in my second trimester and I'm due at the end of June. So that's been a big thing that I've been focusing on, obviously. And I are having a boy. So, I think the next year or so will be me navigating being a mom and continuing my job. I'll take a little bit of time off over the summer for maternity leave, but I have no intention of ending my career. I think it's just gonna, I can't wait to, I'm already thinking about my maternity leave self, not being able to wait until I can get back to work. I'll love the time that I have with my baby, but I'm definitely someone who I will definitely be a working mom. So yeah, it's going to be challenging, but I'm sure, I'll fall into a groove and that'll be great. So I don't have any intentions of leaving Earth's Treasury anytime soon. I think we have big plans to do not only bridal, but like bigger statement pieces with Montana Sapphires. And, you know, I'm excited for like design wise to branch out a little bit and do more, you know, like I said, collections, bigger necklaces and earrings and more like stock designs for, you know, as we grow. And just like personally, I love jewelry history. I'm a huge like Tudor nerd, like Tudor history fan, and like really just all like history in general. So I would love to like explore that and you know, explore the history of jewelry and then maybe like design collections based off of different like time periods and like just as like a personal side project to do. So that's always been something that's been on the back of my mind. And, you know, I'll probably need a couple of years to get that off the ground. But, and then, yeah, eventually the Gemology Worldwide podcast is going to pick back up again. We prefer to record in person, and it's just not safe to do that until we'll both be vaccinated. And then, you know, like I said, over the summer, I'll be a little busy. So we will eventually record more episodes, but I can't wait to do that. And yeah, I just can't wait to travel again. I love Tucson. It was such a bummer to not be able to go this year, but we will, you know, as soon as that's back up, I already told my husband, you know, our baby will be about 8 months by next February. I was like, I'm going to Tucson. That is happening. And he's just like, okay, all right, yeah. I'll make preparations. I'm like, I love our kid. I know I'll love him, but you know, I will need to leave you guys for a week to go back to the desert. So,
it's hard to explain when Tucson was canceled and the industry mourned. It was hard to make other people understand, like, this is such a big deal to us. Like, so much, like, I think of Christmas to regular people and how much more important Tucson is to jewelry people.
Yeah, it's like better than Christmas. Like,
yes.
Really, like, and, like, yeah, he can even like bring it up like when I was at home that week, like, because I was just like, I would just start talking about it for like hours, and he'd just be like, all right, I get it, like, you missed Tucson.
Yeah, it was really horrible.
Yeah, but
I feel like we've been mourning for like months.
Yeah.
But it'll be good to go back and see everybody. And I met you at Tucson because you were at the booth and at the AGTA, right?
Yeah, the Gemology Worldwide party. Yeah, it was just like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I meet so many people in Tucson. Oh, it's just so fun. But yeah, and then I always want to like continue my education. Maybe I'll go through GEMA. That's always been something I wanted to do, and get my FGA.
Totally doing that. I was going to go to Knoxville. I was ready. And then all this COVID stuff. And I was like, I guess I'll do it online.
Yeah. So again, like, I don't want to put any pressure on myself. Like, you know, they're just titles. But like, education's so important. And I would love to do that. And then,
and do you still do appraising? Like, are you wanting to continue appraising, or is that part of the future plan?
Yeah, I've stopped doing it since I began my work at Earth Treasury, because I really needed to focus on just this job. I don't know if I'll necessarily want to do appraisals specifically again. It was fun, but it was like, you know, something I did, like I said, to continue my GIA education. And now that I work at Earth Treasury, I get like all the gemological, you know, education I could ever want working with.
It's so, I'm sure it's so hands-on and such a better experience.
Exactly. Yeah, we have an incredible library of books that I can read anytime that I want. And we interact with tons of people from the industry that I'm constantly learning from. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that's enough for now. Yeah. Like,
it's a lot.
Like I said, I've done so much to get where I am now that I'm really actually enjoying just like not feeling like I need to be doing more. Like, I want to do a lot within my job that I have, but I feel like I'm in a good place in my career to really like get into a groove.
Yeah. Like, and you have so much loyalty to this company, which is so valuable. If you can find a company that shares your values, that you really believe in, that you can stay with long-term, I think, you know, it's very rewarding, and I'm sure can also afford you time and opportunities to pursue, you know, all, because you have kind of a very entrepreneurial mindset. you know, I've gathered, and you've had lines and you've had this. And so it's amazing with jewelry. You can do multiple things, right. You know, there's always other pools you can dip your toes into, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even within this, like just Earth's Treasury, like you know, I'm sure if I wanted to, I could go downstairs and work on the bench for a couple months. And like Jeff has taught me some, you know, gem cutting, which has been great. And I'm learning a lot about the business end of things. So yeah, I just feel like I'm getting I'm getting so many different types of, you know, lessons just from being here that, I think I'll be here for a while, and then who knows? But I think, like I said, I've done a lot, and I've been enjoying, you know, this new chapter a lot, and
that's wonderful. How can people reach you? How can they buy from you? How can they contact you? Spill everything.
So, obviously, if they want to get in touch with me for a Montana Sapphire, they can go to earthstreasury.com, whether they be a retail client or wholesale. If you want to check out the work that I do, you can check out Earth's Treasury podcast. I think it's Earth's Treasury's Instagram, which is Earth's_Treasury. And then my personal Instagram, which is @LaurenLovesGems. And then if you want to listen to the podcast that I do with Josh, Gemology Worldwide, you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, any podcast app. And you can also just go to our website, gemologyworldwide.com. And then I'm also on Facebook and stuff. I don't know if you want to find me there, you can. Just look at my name. But I think that's everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, wonderful. I hope that the people who see this get a feel for you and the business that you work with, and will reach out to you and hopefully, you know, get better educated on Montana Sapphires. I tagged you in an article that I read saying that a lot of customers are wanting Montana Sapphires, but not a ton of retailers are carrying it. So I'd love to see retailers carrying more of your product and really kind of bringing in some of those lost sales. Not that I want to deter people from online sales at all. I don't, because I love business and I love people making money. But at the same time, like, it's so important to have that trust with your seller, whether it's online or in person. And I hate the thought of customers just like stumbling upon randoms who may or may not be honest. You know, I would rather them have people that they can trust, that they have an amazing experience with, and can get the product that they want and actually, you know, get the product that they're told it is. So, you know, hopefully if we can build some awareness about Montana Sapphires and your business, you know, we'll see more of it in jewelry stores and see jewelry stores satisfying that demand that might not being filled right now.
Yeah, we would want nothing more than for jewelry stores across the land to have Montana Sapphires. Because there's plenty to go around, and like you said, the more that people are aware of them, you know, the better everyone does. And I think it really is meeting a need in the industry that is there, and you know, not being filled by diamonds anymore. So
yeah, that's definitely true. Not to dog on diamonds.
No,
I love all the gemstones. I have to be careful because I'm such a colored stone girl. And so, but I'm not, it's not that I'm anti-diamond. I'm just really pro colored stone.
Yeah, it's just
so I try to be careful.
Yeah, diamonds aren't the only thing in town anymore. You know,
no, it's true.
Not the only option, and that's great. You know, diversity and variety is what's going to keep the industry going. So.
Truer words have never been said. I love it. Awesome. Well, Lauren, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share this video to YouTube. I'm going to embed it into a blog article where I will transcribe the highlights from our amazing conversation. So keep an eye out for that. It'll probably be a week or two until that launches, and then I'll blow it up on Instagram. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you letting me do this, and on a Sunday, no less.
Yeah, so, it was my pleasure. Here, if people are watching, they can see my mom. I'm excited to show it to anyone because no one can see it because I'm still, you know, barely going anywhere besides work. So.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, that's okay. It's kind of nice. I can just like kind of, you know, grow and become a big pregnant lady in secret, and then just emerge with this beautiful newborn in the summertime.
People are gonna be like, "Where did this come from?"
Yeah, be like a nice surprise. They'll be like, I was never gigantic, you know. No
That's
one saw that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you look gorgeous. Lauren,
Thank
you're
you.
doing such a great job. I'm so excited. Congratulations
Thanks.
on your motherhood. And when are you due?
June 22nd. Yeah.
Is that the summer solstice? Isn't that a big day?
My fingers are crossed. It's June 20th is the summer solstice. I have been telling this baby, and it's also Father's Day. So I've been telling this baby every day, please come 2 days early, because it would be so cool if you were a summer solstice Father's Day baby. It would make your dad so proud.
Aww.
It would make your mom so proud. So they'll probably come like 2 weeks late now.
Right. Exactly. He heard you. He's like
teaching me my first hard lesson about motherhood and parenting, but
yeah,
the kids will never do what you want them to.
Never.
Yeah. So,
that's too funny. Thanks so much again, Lauren. Let's stay in touch and have a great rest of your weekend.
Yes. Thank you. Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.